Hello, this is H.D. Chambers, Superintendent of Schools for Alief ISD, and I come to you with our weekly message, and I hope that it finds everyone doing as well as possible, and people are staying safe, both themselves and their family and their friends. Uh, I am fully aware. We are fully aware of the alarming rate of the increase in positive cases, not only across our state but across the greater Houston area, and in particular the southwest part of Houston, the Alief community. Late last week, and I don't know if it's still the case right now, but late last week, there were two zip codes, 77072 and 77036, in the greater Houston area that were the highest rate of positive cases for a period of time. Well, that's in the heart of Alief. So 77072 is in our zip code in the administration building area off of Cook Road and High Star and the West Park Toll Road area. And 77036 is on the east side of the district towards the Sam Houston Toll Road, West Chase area. So it hits home in terms of this spike and this increase in the number of positive cases. It hits home personally for many of you, and it hits home as a school system, as a school district for Alief. And again, that's true of a lot of districts. But my point on this is that the board, myself, our leadership team are keenly aware of the changes over the last couple of weeks in the number of positive cases and the impact that's having on people's opinions, people's perceptions, people's concerns, people's level of worry. Um, as I had mentioned a while back, we began in Alief, we began a slowly phased in way of bringing staff members back into our schools and our support facilities. And as a result of the positive cases in the area, and yes, we have them in our school district, obviously. Um, as a result of those cases, I have ordered all district personnel that are non-essential to begin working from home again, while we reevaluate and we look at what the landscape's going to be into the future regarding the positive cases here in our community. As many of you know, we also started our strength and conditioning, or allowing our high schools to begin their summer strength and conditioning back in on June the 8th. But most districts, not every single district, but most districts across Texas, after allowing that to open, have closed those back down, including Alief, including me. I closed ours last week because of the increase in cases and the threat of COVID spreading even more widespread with these student athletes, and not only our student athletes, but many of our fine arts, our band members, etc. So my point on all this is that we are fully aware of what's happening, fully aware, and that has changed things. That has changed things for a lot of people, in both in elected positions and in positions that deal with the public, like a school district. So with those changes, or with the changing lands and the changing parameters of what seems to be happening across the community related to COVID, our reentry task force is continuing to work, but it's beginning to change a little bit of its focus. And I want to share a couple of those things with both parents and staff members. So forgive me if I look down a couple of times, and I want to make sure that I look at my notes that I've prepared. So I just want to forgive me if yeah, if I look down, but I want to make sure I cover what I need to cover. Um, so our reentry task force, as I mentioned last week, is working on multiple things. And if you were able to watch last week's message, it was fairly long. I know it was roughly 20 minutes, but I attempted to outline what we were working on at that time to the greatest amount of detail that I possibly could. And I'm going to try to break down even into more detail today, uh, built upon what I started last week. So let's start real quickly with the reopening, and the question of, and this is what's on everyone's minds. I'm getting emails, I'm getting communications. I know principals are doing the same thing. I know you as a parent or a student or you as a staff member, regardless of your role, uh, are wanting to know. You want more clear guidelines. You want the details. And I'm going to give you a few today, but I'm just going to have to warn you ahead of time. Some of them are not going to be to the detail you're probably going to want. Uh, and I take full responsibility for that. But at the same time, I'm going to give you an explanation as to why I'm not able to give you a concrete 100% detailed answer just yet. So let's start with the opening. The Right now, as I mentioned last week, we were looking at a multi-pronged approach to opening school. One which would basically give parents a choice as to whether they want their child or their children to learn at home remotely through a very robust virtual program that we're building and continuing to build, or do they feel comfortable allowing their children to go to school in person with a laundry list of safety and security issues related to their health. And I mentioned those health issues last week, but those very issues, masks, hand sanitizers, social distancing, self-screening, self-reporting, temperature checks, etc. All of those are still being discussed and the details are being fleshed out by our committee. But all of those, regardless of what I say, those are all going to be in place no matter what we do as we move forward. But as it relates to students, um, right now, based on the information I have, we are attempting, and I want to be really clear about this. Please pay attention to my words here. We are attempting to look at a scenario in which we begin this school year, if not 100% virtual, then with the vast, vast majority of our students learning virtual at the beginning of the school year and working its way over into the future, where we will begin phasing in the return of in-person learning based on information that we're learning from our local health officials and with guidance from those in the health business who are giving us some advice on how to best bring students back and staff back with the greatest of comfort. And I don't know if that's the right word, but the greatest of comfort being provided to parents and to staff, that the safety of their children and the safety of the staff members warrants a slow phase in of reopening for in person. Now, the reason I'm hesitant to say I'm 100% committed, that's exactly what we're going to do. The reason I'm hesitant to say that right this second is because of a challenge that we have at the state level. And I'm going to explain this to you because I want you to know what we're attempting to resolve with our state. Right now, as we sit here today, the state is requiring districts to open schools for in-person student learning and teacher teaching in person, face to face. They are requiring us to open in order to receive full funding for any students who are being taught virtually. And I don't want to make this about money, and I'm not going to make this about money, but I want you to know the position that requirement of having to open school in person in order to access funding for students who we are teaching virtually is a tripwire that can be problematic for all of us, not just ALEAF. I'm talking about all of us, but in particular for those districts in these areas of the state that we're seeing these alarming rates of positive cases increase. So Harris County, Dallas County, Bexar County in the San Antonio area, Tarrant County in Fort Worth, the Austin area, Travis County in the Austin area, the Valley. If you look at West Texas and El Paso, there are these hotbeds of urban, densely populated areas where the COVID cases are spiking at, like I said earlier, alarming rates. That it makes sense, health sense, logical sense to start 100% in a virtual environment to protect everyone, students, staff, etc., and then slowly phase into a in-person based on, like I said earlier, based on guidance from health officials. The problem with that right now is we're working with the state to see how we can get assurances and have confidence that we're going to be funded as a school system for all the students who are not participating in person. and who are participating in, virtually. So I know that probably is confusing, and I don't want anyone to misinterpret what I'm saying, that money is driving this decision, but it is an issue that we're having to address um, um, right now. So, as the guidance that I have given our reentry task force, and the message I want to convey to parents and to staff, is that right now, as we sit here this week, the week of June 29th, with everything we know, with all the conditions and the situations that are in existence right now, and what we're being told is going to occur over the next 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, I am pushing to start 100% virtually. And if we're not able to start 100% virtually, we may identify a way to bring in a very, very small select group of students and a select group of teachers to teach in person, or to have in-person school without it being large numbers. While the vast majority of students would be learning virtually, we may look at a way to bring in a small group of students um, uh, for in-person teaching and learning. So that's where my mind is right now. And our reentry task force was given that information in the last day, and that's what they're working towards. So you as a parent, you as a staff member, are now going to begin receiving, and I'm literally, if you haven't already received it, you're going to be receiving in the next couple of days um, a pretty specific survey. Last week I mentioned this to parents. No, I've mentioned this for the last couple of weeks, but in particular last week I mentioned to parents that the week of June 29th, which we're in right now, you were going to receive a text message / phone call with a note from me or from the district, and a request to participate in a very brief survey. And that survey for parents is going to ask about, what is your desire for your student, in-person learning or virtual at home? Um, as I just got through talking about, I may make the decision. We probably are going to make the decision that we're going to be 100% virtual, or 100% with a small group of students learning remotely. Learning in person. Um, but we need, for planning purposes, and for even the phasing in process over the first semester in the fall, we need as much information from parents on what their desires are for their children. And please understand, as a parent, when you answer these survey questions, uh, we are asking you to commit to whatever you respond with on the survey, because we can't plan if there's going to be movement, and we're allowing people to just move back and forth between home and between school. It's impossible for us to prepare for that. Now, there will be extenuating circumstances, obviously, between both students that are at home and students who, there's just going to be circumstances we're going to have to deal with. But as a general rule, we're going to ask that parents and students commit to whatever it is they commit to with the survey, knowing that there will be an opportunity to transition and to change. It just will not be immediately. It will be over a period of time, perhaps a 9-week grading period or a first semester. I don't know that yet, but there's going to be some set time frame for parents to be committed to whatever it is they've chosen for their child. So parents, you're going to get that survey. It's also going to ask you about your technology situation at home. I will say this, that as a district, we're in the neighborhood of 30,000 new devices, Chromebooks, et cetera, that we're going to be checking out to students who don't have those devices at home. We also have a extremely exciting partnership with a provider that we're going to be providing a hotspot, quality, reliable hotspots for parents to use who don't have connectivity. And we will also be working with those families who don't have access to the internet for other ways in which we can provide support to them while we're beginning this virtual teaching and learning for the 2021 school year, and then slowly phasing in person over a period of time. Staff. If you have not already received a survey from your principal asking what your kind of where your mind is right now on this, you're going to be receiving one soon. Chances are you're probably going to receive two surveys as a staff member. I encourage you to please don't be frustrated with us. Please fill them out again, because this is information is vital to our principals being able to make decisions on staffing and master scheduling. So that's where we are in terms of opening, just the general opening. Um, we're right now, based on everything we know. I don't know how we could do anything other than start virtually for all students and staff, and then try to work towards phasing in person learning as we move forward. Um, that is subject to change. That is subject to change, but that's where we are right now. Excuse me while I look and make sure I okay. One thing I want to make note of on the safety and the health part of this, regardless of when we begin having in-person school, those safety measures, those safety protocols that I'd mentioned last week and I just mentioned a few minutes ago, are going to be in place. As a district, we are purchasing and receiving from the state of Texas a great deal of masks and gloves and hand sanitizers and thermometers and face shields and um, I mean all the PPE things that we've all become accustomed to. But just be aware that we feel really confident that whenever we decide to begin slowly bringing students back in, that that we're going to have the adequate quantity of PPEs for staff. Now, students, the same thing. I, you know, once we get to this point, we will be talking more about masks and things of that nature. But I just want everyone to be aware that um, even if we don't start 100%, even if we don't start with in-person school at the beginning of the school year, we are in the process and have been in the process of making sure we have as many PPEs as we possibly could and would need whenever we begin coming in person. So all of that, I'm just going to sum it up by saying we're trying to make the most reasonable, realistic decisions possible for reopening that takes into consideration your health, whether you're a child, student, parent, staff member, and then the education for students, both academically, socially, and emotionally. Um, we believe, as a school system, and our reentry task force believes this, that we are capable and will be able, with a great degree of confidence, to be able to open virtually. And as I mentioned over and over, the sooner we start teaching students again, the better. Um, Virtually, I mean, the sooner we have access to them, the sooner we can get in front of them, whether it's on a computer screen or through some form of technology, the better, both socially and academically and emotionally. And the sooner we can get them in person will be better. But that in person is going to take some time. And as I've mentioned several times, it's going to have to be a very intentional, strategic process that takes into consideration everyone's health and everyone's comfort level as we move forward. So that's kind of where we are. And again, parents, be prepared for that survey that comes out. You're going to get a text or a phone call. It's also going to be sent out through social media. Even if your child is enrolled in school, please fill this out. For parents who are watching this, or somehow if you're talking to parents who are enrolling their children into ALE for the very first time, and they don't get a text message or they don't get a phone call, they will need to enroll through the enrollment process, which we will be sending communications out for that, or we already have. But I encourage those families to visit our website and on our homepage, as also on our each campus homepage, there will be a link to the survey I'm referring to. If you have any questions, once again, go to www.alefisd.net, and there's a contact button in the top right hand corner, or contact us, I believe. Push contact us, and we will We will respond accordingly. Please leave an email address if you want us to respond so that we know how to respond. We don't automatically collect your email address. We ask for you to include that if you wish. If you don't wish to, if you just have a comment, make your comment, and we'll definitely make sure the right people either respond to you or read your comment or your suggestion. We're constantly updating our frequently asked questions under our COVID-19 webpage, so please keep referring to that. And if you have a suggestion or something, send it to us in the contact us button, or excuse me, contact us link, and we will respond accordingly. And then last but not least, July 4th weekend is coming up, and we'll give you a couple of bits of information that was sent out yesterday from the Greater Houston Partnership, which is the Greater Houston's business development organization. And for the Greater Houston area, the metrics on the cases are going up, and then in some cases they're 5 and 6 times higher than they were at the peak in April and May. Meaning what we saw in April and May is nothing compared to what we're seeing right now. And if we as adults don't behave in a safe and secure way, these numbers are going to continue to go up, and we're going to continue to put other people's lives at risk. Some of you watching this video right now have underlying health conditions that are serious, that if you were exposed and somehow contracted a positive case of COVID-19, your health would be jeopardized and compromised in a serious way. We're seeing it every day in our district. We're seeing it across the community. Many of you have family members in your home, spouses, parents, grandparents, children, siblings that have serious underlying health conditions, that if you were to be exposed to it, while you may not have that condition, but if you were to be exposed to it and you bring it back home, you could be putting your family members or even friends in their health in a very compromising position. So my ask for everyone that watches this is to be safe, to do what's being said on TV every day. Stay home if you don't have to go out. If you do, wear a mask. Stay 6 feet from every person that you see. Excuse me, and use hand sanitizers as much as you possibly can. If not, then we're going to see probably higher numbers of positive cases over the next 30 to 45 days than we saw after Memorial Day. And that would put not just school systems, and I know I'm speaking specifically today about school and opening school, and that's an important topic. And it will continue to be front of mind for us as we make decisions and try to get information out to parents. But the health of our family, our friends, and people we don't even know is being compromised more and more every day. And in many cases, it's a result of individual behaviors. And so my request is that we all practice the safety protocols that have been put in place, and attempt to begin slowing down this virus, so that not only can we have school somehow, but we can also just begin living life in a way in which we can enjoy again. So with that, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attention to this. I will be sending out another message soon, both in writing and in video form, with more details and more information on how we're planning to start. But as I mentioned earlier, right now, we're going to attempt to start 100% virtually, and do everything we can do to get the challenges and barriers out of our way from the state of Texas. Thank you. God bless every one of you, and talk to you soon.